right, my friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing you your daily horoscope for the 24th, 25th, 26th of November 2021 as the moon is moving through the sign of Leo. So the moon moved into the sign of Leo today, leaving behind the heavy energy of Cancer. When the moon was in the sign of Cancer, and we've been a little bit more internal as the moon has moved through Cancer, and the sun is coming through the sign, the early degrees of the sign of Sagittarius, connecting with the south node. Mercury has also left the sign of Scorpio, also entering the sign of Sagittarius, also conjuncting with the south node. Now Mercury deals with our mind, our communication, how we think about things. The sun, the hero of the story, representation of ourselves, our own ego, and where we're showing up in our journey. Mars is still back in the sign of Scorpio, barely halfway through. We're still going to be working through our shadow, actively working through our shadow for the next couple of weeks here, basically through the rest of the year. Venus also in Capricorn, reminding us that of which we value. If it doesn't serve our highest purpose, if it doesn't, Capricorn's reputation, Capricorn is big business, Capricorn is how we represent ourselves to the rest of the world. Are you showing up for yourself? Are you showing up for your people? Are you showing up for your community? And what do you value? If we are valuing things that don't serve our highest purpose, this Venus transit through Capricorn this year is certainly going to make us rethink, as Venus will retrograde in Capricorn in a few weeks. Now, part of our astrology, let me show you this here. Not only do we have the moon creating this biseptile with a little S2 there to Mars, meaning actively seeking and having the courage to seek through our shadow, having the courage to do something different. Mars creating a sextile over to Venus right now over the next couple of days. Very, very powerful. Again, if it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't serve your highest good, why are we valuing something? Leave the low-hanging fruit for those who are not strong enough to reach for the top. Leave the low-hanging fruit to those who are not strong enough, who have no ambition to reach higher. This is not your path. Your journey is to find your inner strength, not taking the easy way out of something. It's funny, as the moon, our emotional needs, is making its way through Leo, the cat of the zodiac, but it's also the lion. Cats have this funny scaredy cat. And it just so happens that yesterday I was watching a couple of videos on YouTube here about cats, and they're so fearless. Cats are so fearless. I watched a cat, multiple cats, multiple different videos swatting at alligators that were coming up toward people. And this cat ran up and just pop, 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 pop. 100 miles an hour. Their little paws are going so fast, and the alligators turned and ran away. I watched cats chase black bears away. I watched cats chase a cobra away. Not let alone giant dogs that humans would be afraid of. But we don't look at a little feline, a little house cat, and human beings are not scared of that. But at the same time, these are our pets, and these felines, these cats teach us a lot about ourselves and about our own fearlessness. So we have the sense of entering that cave, entering our shadow with a sense of fearlessness. We should be excited about this. And it's okay if we're not. It's okay if we're not quite feeling ourselves, if we're feeling a little off. And the sun and Mercury conjunct the South Node is a huge turning point in our lives this year. This is the last time this is going to happen. This is the last time Mercury is going to conjunct with the South Node in Sagittarius for a long time. It takes 18 months for these nodes to switch signs. This is the last time, the Sun only conjuncts with the South Node once a year. So this is the last time we're going to have this. And the South Node is all about letting go. And the sign of Sagittarius is about philosophies. This is about education, the way that we're educating ourselves. This is about religious ideologies. All are up for great change. And we're, again, seeking information. And we have technology now that we didn't have 100 years ago, that we can connect with other people around the globe. as the Sun and Mercury are both going to start to create that sextile from fire sign to fire sign to air sign, here for your perspective, fire sign Sagittarius to air sign of Aquarius with Saturn. And saying we must be the ones, we must be the individual within the group to seek this out. Now, I'll share a story about Copernicus and Galileo, both into astrology and astronomy. Now, Copernicus was the very first one. During Copernicus's time in life, philosophy, here we go. During Copernicus's time in this world, the Christian, the Catholic Church, great large entity here, okay, really persuasive energy and entity here on planet Earth that was forming a concept in individuals' minds of what life is, of what reality is on this planet. And the Christian church, the Catholics, believed that the Earth was the center of the universe. Now, we can sit here and kind of laugh at that. It's just like, yeah, well, we know very much that that is not the case. So the Catholic Church believed that Earth, geocentrically, was the center of the universe. And God had made this the very special place, made us the special race, the special human beings that we are, and this special planet that it is. And undoubtedly, we are a special race. We are a special beings here on this planet. You know, with the prefrontal lobes, our consciousness is very different from that of any other animal species on this planet. So Copernicus had this concept that the universe was not geocentric, but rather heliocentric, meaning sun-centered, that Earth revolved around the sun, not the other way around. So Copernicus wrote the book. And shortly after he wrote this book, he passed away. And this information really didn't get out to a lot of people until Galileo came around. And Galileo found this information, really identified with it as well. And Galileo also had the telescope. And his experience with the telescope, his own self-discovery. Now, this is, again, blasphemous to go against the church at this point in time. This is a very big no-no. Okay, what the church said goes. What the church said was the Word of God, and the individuals that could read the Word of God, the book, the Bible, were these holy people. So Galileo used the telescope, and as he was observing the planet Jupiter, he noticed 4 other planets. Again, planet means wanderer, something that moves in the night sky where the stars are fixed. The stars do not wander, the stars do not move. So these planets are wanderers that move throughout the night sky. So Galileo had noticed that Jupiter had 4 planets wandering around itself. Of course, now we consider these to be moons. So Galileo turned and wrote his own book, and now has not just a theory, but hard evidence that we were not the center of the universe, and that other things were revolving around other planets as well. This goes against direct communication of the Word of God according to the Christian Church and the Catholic Church at the time. The Christian Catholic Church. Same thing, but different branches. Either way, it's this, you get it. So when Galileo had put out this information, which again is blasphemous as it goes against the quote-unquote Word of God, which is something that another human being interpreted and is giving to human life. And they wanted to murder Galileo. And they said, either take this out of the book, take this information out that goes against the word of the church, or we're going to kill you, hands down. He said, I will not take this out of the book, but please spare me my life. So what the Christian church did instead, they put him in prison for the rest of his life until he died. But we have the information available to us now today. And it's pretty funny. In a sad way, it's funny that we can now recognize through technology, Age of Aquarius, that the church was wrong. That the church was wrong. That we are not the center of the universe. That the world, that the rest of the planets don't revolve around Earth. As special as we are, as special as this planet is, they were simply wrong. The message they were preaching was wrong. And we have hard evidence and hard facts now that prove against it. So it takes courage. It takes strength to be that leader. It takes strength and courage to go up against something that is bigger, a bigger entity than oneself. These little cats going after bears, little cats going after alligators, little cats going after king cobras who are trying to eat its kittens. It takes courage and strength to do that work. It takes courage and strength to be a human being. This isn't easy, this thing called life here on this planet. It's not easy. And it's not easy when we have other entities larger than us, an outside source, governments and churches, and these social political agendas that are happening that might have a different perspective than the perspective that we have. And sometimes we get chastised, we get yelled at by these groups, these entities of whatever they are. It could be even our own group. It could be our own social circle. That's like, wow, why don't you believing in the same thing that we're believing? It takes courage and strength and communication, and we have to be able to alleviate the collective's thoughts to seek our own truth. Not only our own truth, but to uncover a truth that makes more sense. Now, without this knowledge, without that use of the telescope, without these courageous individuals going against this large entity of the church, the church wanted to bury this information. Do you see where we're going here? There's a lot going on in life that we've been told that is the foundation and the building blocks of our being. Now, I just had a really beautiful conversation last night with a neurosurgeon. We talked for about 3 hours on all kinds of stuff about the brain. Individuals that would have a tumor in their brain, and then they would start to see these images, near-death experiences, all kinds of different stuff. And one thing that he would say, and it's so, if you were born here in the United States in America, and we're having this, an atheist or whatever has this point of enlightenment, or an alcoholic's point of enlightenment. It's oftentimes that the light that we see, quote unquote, light that we see is often identified with the personification of the sun deity, Jesus. And if you were in China, then the light deity that you're going to see there in this near-death experience, of course, is going to be Buddha. Or it's Krishna. Depending on where you're at, the religious ideologies of the collective is the light that we end up seeing, because that's what the collective in our society believes in. So what is this light? What is the truth? What is the answer? We all have these different continents with our different religions, have this different idea or concept of what God is. If you walk by a rabbi, a priest, a Buddhist, a Hindu, and you just walked by and you just said God and just kept going, they're all going to have a different concept of what that is in their minds. And this information, we can communicate about it. We can fight. We can kill each other over this information. We can kill each other over our belief. Or we can expand. And that's what Sagittarius season is all about, is about expanding. It's about having an abundance of communication. It's important that we communicate these things. It's important that we are not afraid to communicate these things, our beliefs. Now, just because we believe something doesn't mean it's there. Just because we believe something does not mean it's there. And then what is it? We have to seek out. Is there truth in my feelings? This is Mars through Scorpio right now. We can feel alone. We can feel isolated. We can feel abandoned. We can, through a lack of oxygen to the brain, if we're taking shallow breaths, and we're getting upset and angry about something, this puts our brain in fight or flight mode. And we could be surrounded by family members. We could be surrounded by friends that love us. And at the same time, we could feel like we're surrounded by a pack of wolves. So just because we feel something doesn't mean it's there. And it's up to us as an individual to seek out, what is this truth? Am I really cared? Am I really alone? Am I really abandoned? Am I allowed to seek this information? Am I allowed to go against the grain in a certain sense? And the answer is absolutely yes. We have a certain rebelliousness to us right now that is absolutely necessary as we're breaking out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. These old ideas, especially considering religion, especially considering all religions, not just Christianity, information is going to be coming out over the next several years that is going to create big ripples and big changes. And just the same as the story of Galileo, it will try to be oppressed. The information would try to be oppressed. People will use their power to try to make negative ad campaigns, create negative things about us, individuals. Us could be anybody. You know, myself, I could be dubbed an antichrist because I believe that Jesus is a personification of the sun, whose reflection walks on water. It's something I talk about during the astrotheology talks here. But the reason I'm talking about this is because it doesn't have to be an astrotheology. This is what the astrology is teaching us right now. We have to be able to explore. We have to be able to seek out other alternative options. We have to be able to seek out other possibilities of this existence of life, of existence of human nature, without being scared or without being threatened that somebody is going to harm you or hurt you, or there's going to be a further consequence in not only this life but the afterlife if you don't believe the words that they tell us. At the same time, we're having this huge shift, not just about what we value here, Venus dealing with Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, which is the planet that shakes things up, makes great change. Now, Sagittarius and Taurus don't really see each other. And the sun here is going to start to create this very interesting aspect, and so will the moon over here to Taurus. It's going to be a square. The moon is going to start to square Uranus and Taurus, that of which we value. We might have valued this information at one point in our lives. We have to be able to change. We have to be able to be fearless during this time. What purpose does this serve me? Are we afraid of being made fun of? When I was a kid in high school, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. It was, poverty family. I didn't have the Nikes. I had Filas. I had last year's or 2 years ago models. So when I'm on the basketball court, I'm getting made fun of. Or the clothes that I wore were not the clothes that everybody else had. So I'm being made fun of for not fitting into the crowd. It doesn't matter. I don't care. And we have this opposition here happening on Thursday between Saturn and the moon. The moon is our emotions. How do we feel about it? They're shoes. These Filas are shoes just like Nikes. They don't make me run faster. They don't make me jump higher. This is just a style. It's a fad. What is trendy? We're breaking this trend. Neptune. Does it matter? What do we believe? Do we believe that we have to have the latest trend in fashion in order to fit in? This is a square, Saturn square to Uranus. This is a continuation. Something that happened during 2021 is going to continue to happen during 2022 as Saturn continues to make its way forward. Saturn moves quite a bit faster. So we're still experiencing this Saturn square to Uranus and understanding that we're individuals within this community. And I really love, and I personally really value, the individuals that can go thrift shopping and take these old different styles and wear them proudly, and create their own style. We don't have to have the Gucci's. We don't have to have the Louis Vuitton. We don't have to have the newest Nikes. This is some sort of a race, of who's got the newest, hippest thing. And it's like, do we identify with that? Do we value that? And that answer is within. And maybe this is part of our change. We're allowed to. And as we enter through this time, it's again about this fearless nature. Fearless nature. Well, I want to go back a second. There's also a grand fire trine happening here between the moon, healing Chiron, which means when we're doing this work, when we're fearlessly seeking out when we're seeking out the answers. Now, here's another thing, just personally, when I was, studying astrotheology, still and constantly studying astrotheology and religious theology in general, I can't just look at the light of God. I had to look at Satan and Lucifer and the devil as well. Oh my God. Satan, Lucifer, and the devil. What does that mean? I can't just sit here and only look at the one, only look at the light and not look at the dark. I can't just look at the right and not look at the left. These are both wings of the same creature. Whatever political side you are on, they are both wings of the same entity. Red and white, or red and blue, left and right. It's the same thing. So it's up to ourselves right now to have the strength, the courage to start to recognize that this is a bunch of BS, that we have to separate ourselves from these ideas, from the other people's ideas. Question the religious, question the government, question the educational, question the authorities that are trying to tell you individually who you are, how to live this life. And when we do that, we're in a place of discovery. And when we discover ourselves, when we discover these answers, when we start to go into those questions, when we start to lean into that unknown fearlessly, brings a lot of healing to ourselves. Very, very powerful transits are happening these next couple of days. Now the moon's connecting to Venus here. This is where we start getting into this valuing. If it doesn't serve my highest purpose, I have the strength to change it. I want to live my best life. I just had a friend tell me yesterday, just last night, young guy. He's 35 years old. He's got cancer. He has no idea how long he has left to live. And he says, Aaron, I want you to know I haven't been lazy. I've been sick. And he said to me, I'm getting emotional, I want to do as much as I can in this life while I have as long or as little as I have available. What do we do with this information, friends? We've got a T-square, Mars to Uranus. Are we willing to go into that shadow? Are we willing to break free from these ideas that seemingly hold us back? Yeah, we're the center of the universe. We're the center of the universe, says one entity. Are we willing to seek out? Is this truthful? Then how are we going to deal with this information? And coming into Friday here, as the moon starts to square to Eris. At the same time the moon starts to square to Eris, we're getting this septile here to Uranus. Again, breakthroughs. When we have this fearless nature, when we're not afraid to go up against the alligator, we're not afraid to go up against the bear, when we're not afraid to go against the religious, when we're not afraid to go against the governmental authorities, when we're allowed to think for ourselves, when we're not just going with whatever the group says because that's what's trendy and that's what's hip right now and that's what's in, so I have to be on your wavelength and your path because if I'm not, then I'm going to be rejected. You know what? Reject me because I've got my own path. I've got my own stuff to do. And as Mars continues to move through the shadow sign of Scorpio, now we're starting to connect with Neptune, saying, oh my goodness, now that this door has opened up, look how good life can be. I am free. Moon, septile to Uranus. Moon, septile to Neptune. Neptune, septile to Uranus. Breaking free from these limitations and allowing ourselves to expand and to unfold into living the life that we need to live, to becoming fully ourselves. Not going after the low-hanging fruit because it's easier. Not just believing somebody because it's easier, because that's what we're told. That's what mom told me. That's what dad told me, and I trust them. I trusted my pastor. I trusted my teacher. They learned what they learned, and they taught it to me. I can't be mad at them. I can't be upset with them. This is what they were taught. This is what they believed. And my teachings have brought me elsewhere. My teachings have opened more doors for me. Powerful times, my friend. going into this, allowing ourselves to feel, especially coming from this Cancer energy, allowing ourselves to feel. If we're feeling off, if we're feeling different, it's okay. Allowing ourselves to experience that. Pain equals growth. And if we just try to mask that pain, we're not going to expand. We're not going to grow. So giving ourselves this fearless permission to grow. Beautiful, beautiful energy leading up to this final solar eclipse of the year. My friends in the United States, have a beautiful, happy Thanksgiving with your friends and your family. My friends around the world, have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful couple days, really feeling this powerful energy. I love you. I wish you enough, and I'll see you tomorrow.